Hi, Rachel. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Thursday live. Uh-oh, I'm seeing my dog was let out. What? It's live. It's really live.
Do you need to go get the dog?
Yes. Why don't you give us a wrap-up summary where we are and where we're going, and I'll be right back.
Sorry. Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to What's for Dinner, the weekly vlog that Dr. Gilbert and I record together. Dr. Gilbert is a physician. I'm a health coach, and we talk about lifestyle medicine and the lifestyle changes and how they apply to the days in, the days out. And so we've been going through a series called Diet Mentality versus Lifestyle Mentality, and trying to just really compare and contrast what that looks like. What has the old mindset of diet mentality taught me, you, all of us in this culture? And what does lifestyle medicine look like? What does it look like to apply a lifestyle mentality to your growth, your health, the changes you want to make moving forward to a more vibrant and higher quality of life? So that's the series we're in right now. And this week we want to talk about limitations. And she's back. She's no longer being limited by the dog being out, right? Is the dog safe and sound?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, good. So I just introduced that we are talking this week about limitations and how what does that mean for a limitation in a diet mentality, and what is a limitation in a lifestyle mentality? So what do you think of when you think of limitations?
Right. Yeah. Well, what I'm thinking of is that when we're dieting, we're going for maybe kind of ridiculous kinds of perfectionistic goals that are probably unrealistic rather than embracing, well, your word maybe limitations, and we can talk about what that means.
Yeah.
Embracing, the maybe some natural limitations, maybe some physical limitations, maybe some what other kind of, whatever, financial limitations, things like that. So rather than looking realistically at the situation right now, I'm kind of being unrealistic in my expectations.
Yeah.
That seemed like,
Yeah, that's definitely where what we're talking about here, and where that's the difference. That's the, limitation's a tricky word, and we want to say at the upfront that we're not saying that we limit ourselves, accept our limitations, and just kind of sit back and go, well, poor me, I can't do anything because of this, or
right.
I'm not going to try harder, or I'm not going to push myself outside of my comfort zone. It's hard, it's tricky, it's painful, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's the direction I need to go. That's not what we're talking about.
Right.
What we're talking about is these limitations that are more natural in our lives. That it may only be a limitation for you this week. It may be a limitation for this month. If you have a really busy work thing coming up, you might be very limited by the amount of extra time you have outside of work this month. Maybe it's these years you're raising kids and they're a certain age, and you're limited with the time and the extra space that you have. These are when we fight against these limitations, we hit that diet mentality. It's all or nothing, perfectionism. We beat ourselves up when we can't. I should be able to do all of these things and live with my natural limitations. I should be able to, even though I'm limited, in these. And I think a lifestyle mentality switches that to, what if I accepted and embraced the limitations that I have, acknowledged them, in they make my life a little bit more difficult or more challenging, and instead worked within my limitations and to see how I could move through them now, and maybe they open up later. And maybe I gain skills along the way, and I push outside of my limitations.
Right.
But now kind of embracing what is and accepting it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking of an example kind of outside the space of, health maybe. But I mean, I've always had the expectation that I'm going to be this beautiful, accomplished pianist. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as a mom, a wife, a physician, and a worker bee in my church, whatever it is, I haven't accomplished that. I'm not. I'm just.
Yeah.
I'm not. And so I guess I've accepted my time constraint limitations for now, for that period of my life. And now I'm in a different period season. And, I have more flexibility in my time so that I can maybe plan to do that. So then the next thing is I hear all these accomplished pianists and they're doing, and then I find out, oh, they're playing the piano like 4 hours a day.
You want to play the piano 4 hours a day.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah. And you don't know if you want to, right? There's
to.
A part of you wants the results that would have.
Mm-hmm.
But another part of you might say, well, I don't want to give up the other things that I do with those 4 hours of my day. And maybe you do. Maybe you decide at some point, I'm going to literally I'm going to have 4 hours of my day. But right now, that's maybe not where you're at.
Yeah. So I know I was kind of outside. So a lot of times I think we see, like, I don't know, social media, different people doing different things and putting themselves and their, perfect health out there.
Yeah.
And maybe we're looking and seeing, oh, that's what I want. On the other hand, not understanding what that person is doing to get the health that they have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly or not, but yeah. And I think they're probably doing more than the 10. I'm just thinking about this person. They're probably doing more than that set of 10 bicep curls. That's what they showed on their little presentation. Or TikTok or whatever it was. Probably in the gym a little bit more than that. Yeah. So that's sort of a diet mentality and this perfection, this is all you have to do and you should be able to do it and it's all this easy, versus accepting maybe the fact that this is where I am right now in my health. And it's not that I can't get better in my health, but it's okay that I'm right here. And then what's my next little step versus like this perfection that I'm looking at on social media. Yeah.
What, if I accept where I'm at right now, then what can I do with what I've got right now? What changes can I make in this right here? And knowing that I've got to change something, right? To get a different health status than I've got right now, I have to make changes. I can't keep doing the same stuff.
Right.
So I've got to push outside of my comfort zone. I likely will have to say no to certain things in my life, time constraints or commitments or certain friendships or certain, things that I do. I might have to kind of change in order to do the things I want to do. But I also can start right now with what I have. Right. And what I've noticed about the way that the brain works, and I don't know the exact science around this, but what I've noticed is that when we sort of accept and come to terms with the current limitations that we have and accept that it's okay, it may or may not always be this way today, tomorrow, or a year from now, but I can start now. We feel released, like, oh, that was a lot of pressure to put on myself to do all the things all the time. And I should be able to do all of this. No, you shouldn't. No one said you I don't know where we get all of this, right? But we somehow have this idea that there's this perfect person somewhere in the world and we're all striving to be that. And it's just not real. And so we get released. There's a freedom in that, right? Like
Yeah.
that freedom to be
Mhm.
who I am, what
Mhm.
I am, where I am right now, and live to
Mm.
the fullest in this
Mhm.
moving forward. And what I've noticed is as the brain feels released from that, first of all, we feel more positive. We don't feel so
Mm.
overwhelmed, not as much of the inner,
Burden, yeah.
yeah, the inner critic kind of beating us up, which is not motivating.
Mm.
And when the brain is kind of freed up and we feel better about our circumstances and we feel more in control and accepting of where we're at, the brain finds ways to actually move us toward the direction we wanted to go in the first place.
Mm.
It finds ways to um, it's kind of like if you want to buy a red car, all you ever see in the world are red cars.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, I'm seeing red cars everywhere. Well, your brain is looking for the red cars because you
Right.
told your brain, I really
Right.
like cars.
Yeah.
So if I tell
Mhm.
myself I want to do this one thing, but I'm limited,
Mhm.
now, the brain remembers. It knows where
Yeah.
you ultimately are hoping to go one day,
Yeah.
and it's to find the way through. Um,
Mhm.
but without the pressure, without the self criticism. I don't know. Have you
Mhm.
experienced that at all yourself?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, well, what I do appreciate what's resonating with me is that the freedom in, that just kind of just coming to terms with where I am right now. It's and not necessarily where I want to be, and that's okay. Um, and then the discipline that I can derive from that, which is not like this tightrope. I can't eat this, I can't eat that, but
Mhm.
it's the freedom to choose what's serving me for this place to get to my next, place of
Yeah,
health. Yeah.
yeah,
So it's the freedom to practice, to put into practice, to keep, trying new things, doing, but doing the practices, establishing the rules for myself
mhm.
that are getting me in a better place in my health. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kinda tricky to wrap your brain around as you first,
Mhm.
think about it and talk about it. I encourage people to talk about it with their friends and relatives and kind of maybe journal. How do you feel about that? Because a lot of people, when they hear limitations, they don't wanna be limited. They don't like that feeling of accepting limitation, but we
Mhm.
mean it in the most life-giving way,
Mm.
right? The most, abundant way. If I have boundaries, I can move really freely in these boundaries without
Mm.
having to
Yeah.
go that way. No, I've got my path
Mhm.
in front of me, and I know the
Yeah.
direction I'm going, and it's so life-giving other than
Mhm.
there's no limitations. You can do anything you want, anytime,
Right.
anywhere.
Yeah.
We know that's
Right.
not true, right? So, um, yeah, I just encourage
Yeah,
people
so
to.
having limitations, what you're saying can be very freeing. Yeah,
Mhm.
it can let go of some things that are putting that extra pressure on you that are actually not moving you in a forward direction, but just kind of keeping you frustrated and feeling futile and spinning your wheels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect example. I had this dream of being a farmer's market going kind of gal, where every week I visit one or two farmers markets and I'm always eating the local, freshest, organic stuff. And it just is not, it's a limitation in my life. For whatever reason, I want to, but I don't take the steps to actually make it happen. I don't want to
Mm.
leave my house at 8 o'clock in the morning to go to the farmer's market. I just don't. And so I don't. But then I beat myself up, right? Oh, but I should be getting farmers market produce. That's
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
for me, the most important thing is to eat so many veggies and to eat my 30 different variety every week and to get 35 plus grams of fiber every day. That's my goal. So
Yeah.
I can get from frozen veggies from the freezer store, the freezer section of my grocery store, or I could do farmers market. But but right now, farmers markets aren't happening for me. So I'm releasing that and
Yeah.
feeling freedom in it because I don't want it to limit me so much that I just give up on eating all the healthy veggies.
Right. Yes.
No, I'm going to get my veggies, and once in a
Hmm.
while, drive by a farmer's market. Ooh, I'll
Hmm.
pull in and I'll get some farmer's market veggies, and I'll feel
Right.
great.
Yes. Yeah. So part of the limitation thing then is to let go of this all or none thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part
Right.
of the limitations is to embracing those limitations. Yeah. Is, uh, is seeing that there's more than one way, to, yeah. Part of it is holding on to the value of the vegetable, getting your, and then, but embracing that there's more than one way to do that. Yeah, and eventually, one day, maybe it could be farmers markets all the time.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but for right now, you're still upholding your value. You've released yourself from that pressure.
Yeah.
You're not dogging yourself for not doing. Yeah, and yeah,
Mhm. And so I
yeah.
can take the little reminder on my calendar every Saturday that pops up, go to the farmer's market. I can take that off and say,
Hmm.
I'm not gonna erase. Stop beating me up. Stop bothering me. Right? Because for right now, I'm not going and I'm not going to go. And
Yeah.
so
Yes.
it's
It's okay.
okay, right? I can accept that. And then I just feel so much more free. And I have a feeling somehow farmers markets are going to start popping up in my world more. I'll be
Mhm.
more aware of them, or I'll be more open to a random
Mhm.
Saturday popping over to the farmers market. Whereas before, if it's this thing I have to do and I should do,
Yeah.
and it's on the calendar, then I almost,
Yeah.
bristle against
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good. Good. Speaking of farmers market, I've been to a local farmers market. Actually, it was a farmer free, and actually, it's kind of cool because we have neighbors who have little tables out in their front, and they have they put their excess. Did I
Mhm.
talk about this last time?
No, but I've
Um,
seen it.
Yeah, they put their excess zucchini or tomatoes, whatever, onions, or on their little table, say free. So I think that's just a beautiful thing in our community here that people are sharing their produce. And I'm going over across the street and get my own. Well, so yesterday I had a student for a month, and we had our last meal together, and we did our culinary medicine, and we cooked it together, and then we invited patients in to join in for our meal together, which was so beautiful. And um and I had some local homegrown produce fresh on it wasn't all of that, but some of it was. And
Yeah.
so I didn't limit myself to say I can only do my only, otherwise it's not going to be any good. We had this, that, and the other thing, but some of it was locally
Mhm.
grown, and I was so excited to share. And that's what I'm eating, by the way, for dinner tonight, the leftovers from that. So we batch cooked the lentils, and the student made a beautiful um, olive oil, kind of a mustardy vinaigrette dressing for the lentils, which is really good. And then I made a pesto for my zucchini noodles. And then we had like a rice pilaf kind of a deal with broccoli from my garden and onions from my garden. And I put mushrooms and garlic and different spices in with but we didn't use rice, we used cauliflowered rice.
Mhm.
And anyway, the plate was gorgeous and full of color. And then we had some fish that my husband seared, and then we had dessert, which was plum cots from our tree across,
Ooh,
and it was so delicious. It was so good. So I'm having that for leftovers for dinner tonight.
that sounds delicious and so much better than what I'm going to be eating for dinner. We have our small group, and it's going to be a barbecue, and I'm okay.
You need to come over and get some of my leftovers, Rachel.
Maybe I do. I need to
I
cruise
got
by
them.
your. You can pack me a little to-go container, and
Yeah.
win some, you lose some. But here's the deal: I
Yeah.
am limited by my dinner choices tonight. right? I am limited. I'm going to accept that, and I'm going to make the best of it. And I'm going
Yeah.
to eat, as much of my health earlier in the day that I can, bring my dish to share that's going to be hopefully, very nutritious and healthy, and call it good.
There you go. There you go. Beautiful way to wrap it up here.
Yes.
That's right. That's right. So, all right. Well, thank you so much, Rachel, for your time and good discussion. I am actually it's lunchtime for me. I'm feeling my I'm at about a 3, moving to a 2 on our hunger fullness scale.
Oh, there we go. So it's time.
It's time.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Go enjoy your life.
okay. Thanks. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.